What is the greatest sequel in Pixar history? Well, that's for another day, but today it's all about how much you remember about the original Pixar sequel. Toy Story 2 takes center stage in this episode of Disney Jeopardy. In the words of the great Sheriff Woody, hey, howdy, hey. Welcome to episode 118 of Disney Jeopardy. As always, I am your host, Bryan Perri, and what is the greatest Pixar sequel of all time? That, like I said, is up for debate. I did rewatch Toy Story 2 in anticipation of this episode this weekend. It's hard to beat. If you are not a Toy Story 2 aficionado, fear not, because I'll figure out if you're a true Disney by quizzing you on 4 other topics as well. So without further delay, let's take a look at the board and see what episode 118 is all about. Already mentioned it, Toy Story 2 bats lead off today. Let's see what's coming with it. What time is it is your second category. That's followed by end of the line. The theme park category is more than just a game. And finally, the Club DJ member category of the week is Stitch. Nearly 70% of the vote goes to the little blue alien boy band as your runner-up once again. And ABC Originals garners just 9% of the vote. I have done a Lilo and Stitch category in the past. I believe it was all the way back in episode 25, if you want to test yourself on the movie. The Stitch category today is all about the character himself. And no, it's not about the live-action version of the character, but the cartoon one. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I actually don't know if they're identical in terms of how they act and things they do, but just know that today's Stitch category is all about the 2002 version. And with that, it is now time for the easiest round of the game, the cupcake round. We begin with Toy Story 2 for 2. The other 3 characters who star in Woody's Roundup. Who are Jesse, Bullseye, and the Prospector? But if you said Stinky Pete, that's fine.
There's Jesse the yodeling cow.
Look it, that's me!
Bullseye, he's Woody's horse. Beat the old prospector.
Has anyone seen my pick?
And the man himself, of course.
Okay, we're ready to move on to the second category of the day. It is what time is it? This category is all about specific times in the day that are referenced in Disney films. Let's see how you do. For 200 points, Cinderella's fairy godmother tells her that at this time, the spell will be broken. What is 12 or midnight?
You must understand, my dear. On the stroke of 12, the spell will be broken, and everything will be as it was before.
All right, it is now time for the end of the line category, which means it's time for another explanation. I will read you the end of a monologue spoken by a Disney character, and you'll have to tell me what character was speaking that monologue. Here we go. Oh, and then Elsa woke up the magical spirits, and we were forced out of our kingdom. Now our only hope is to find the truth about the past, but we don't have a clue about how to do that, except Elsa's hearing voices, so we got that going for us. Any questions? The end of that monologue was spoken by Olaf as he's explaining the story of Frozen in Frozen 2.
Then she unfreezes. Oh, and then Elsa woke up the magical spirits and we were forced out of our kingdom. Now our only hope is to find the truth about the past, but we don't have a clue how to do that except Elsa's hearing voices, so we got that going for us. Any questions?
It's time for the theme park category of the week. It is more than just a game. As many of you know, a lot of Disney attractions throughout the world include some friendly competitions. So, see how well you know those attractions where you're competing with somebody else. This one's worth 2. Up until this year, Dinoland USA was home to Blank and Blank's Dinorama, an area that included a number of Midway-style carnival games. Yes, the Dino Land USA as we once knew it is no more. That includes Chester and Hester's Dinorama. Final clue of the cupcake round comes from the Club DJ member category of Stitch. Where Stitch lands on Earth. Correct answer is Hawaii.
What is that?
Water. Most of the planet is covered in it.
He won't survive in water. His molecular density is too great. No. Of course.
I love that scene where it looks like Stitch is just going to land in the middle of the Pacific and ultimately Hawaii shows up out of nowhere. Also, bonus fun fact, does anyone have an idea of where Stitch was originally going to land before Disney changed the drafts and the story? The correct answer is Kansas. That's right, Stitch was going to land in Kansas, pretty much the polar opposite of Hawaii, and he was actually going to interact with forest animals rather than humans. But that obviously got scrapped, and I don't think we would have gotten Kansas roller coaster ride. Maybe we would have. Okay, no, probably not. All right, let's move on. 400-point round now. It's Toy Story 2 for the second time. Oh, but it is worth way more than 400 points. At least it could be, because it is your daily double. Clue 3,200 in the history of Disney Jeopardy, and it is all about Toy Story 2. I will say this. If you've watched Toy Story 2, you probably will get this clue right. So if you want to wager all 1,000 points, I'm sure you acquired in the first round, going 5 for 5, I suggest you do so. Okay, here we go. Here's your daily double clue. To cross the wide roadway to get to Al's toy barn, Buzz and the other toys trying to find Woody hide under a few of these, causing a large car accident. What are traffic cones?
Drop!
I have a good feeling that a lot of you are doing well in episode 118. Let's see if you continue the momentum. It's What Time Is It for 4. According to Rapunzel, the usual morning lineup begins at this time. That was borderline a cupcake question. That was pretty easy, but I felt like Cinderella Midnight might have been easier. I don't know. Correct answer is 7 a.m. Here comes End of the Line for the second time. Sometimes I think, man, sure must be nice being the good guy. Speaking in group therapy, the correct answer is Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph.
Man, sure must be nice being the good guy.
Nice share, Ralph. As fellow bad guys, we've all felt what you're feeling, and we've come to terms with it.
Really?
Here comes More Than Just a Game for 400 points. An opening day attraction for both Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom, this Aim and Fire experience closed in Orlando in 2024, but still operates in Anaheim under a different name. Closing just last year in Walt Disney World, the correct answer is the Frontierland Shootin' Arcade. Let's finish off the 400s with a little Stitch. Stitch dressed up as this musician on the beach and played the ukulele. Who is Elvis? Ten clues down, we move on to the 600-point round now. Let's see how you do. It's Toy Story 2 for the third time. When Woody gets shelved, he finds this character covered in dust behind a book. Who is Wheezy?
Wheezy? Is that you?
Hey, Woody.
Time for What Time Is It? For 600 points. While not a specific time you'd read off a clock, Maleficent commands that Aurora will prick her finger at this time of day on her 16th birthday.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel.
Here comes your halfway point of the game. It's end of the line for 6. Everyone can be super, and when everyone's super, no one will be. You know, he's not wrong. I don't hate the idea of all of us having superpowers. Kind of cool. I got to start a Bryan's Hot Take show where I kind of just express my hot takes about Disney characters. The correct answer here is Syndrome.
And when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Here comes more than just a game for the 3rd time. The 3 jobs you can be assigned to while riding Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. What are pilot, gunner, and engineer? Here comes the final clue of the 600s. It's Stitch. Before Stitch alters his body to look like a dog, he's seen with this many arms/legs. For 600 points, your correct answer is 6. We move on now to the underrated 800-point round. It begins with Toy Story 2. Name the 5 characters who leave Andy's house to try and rescue Woody from Al's toy barn. Attempting to save their dear friend were Buzz Lightyear, Rex, Ham, Slinky, and Mr. Potato Head. Potato Head.
Geronimo! You'd think with all my video game experience, I'd be feeling more prepared. Oh!
Here we go with what time is it for 8? Hi-ho, hi-ho. It's home from work we go. The dwarfs leave the mines at this time to head back to their house. They're just regular white-collar workers clocking out at 5 p.m. Hi-ho! Here comes end of the line for 800 points. My whole life is planned out for the day I become, well, my mother. Who is Merida?
I've got duties, responsibilities, expectations. My whole life is planned out. Preparing for the day I become, well, my mother.
Let's hit you with another more than just a game clue. Hong Kong Disney's Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters was replaced by a similar interactive attraction based on these 2 Marvel characters. Who are Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You are about to join a heroic battle.
Are you ready?
Final clue before the 1000s brings us to Stitch. The scientist who engineered Stitch. Who is Jumba?
Dr. Jumba Jukiba.
I would never, ever make more than one.
20 clues are down, but the most important 6 remain, including Final Jeopardy. But before we get to Final Jeopardy, you know what time it is. Cue the other cameras. it is time for the most overly dramatic, soundtrack-infused, unnecessarily spotlighted part of the game, the 1,000-point round. Hit it. I had to hire a few full-time cameramen for that, so I hope you appreciate the new introduction to the 1,000-point round. Thanks, guys. Here we go. We begin with Toy Story Dose. The exciting conclusion of Woody's Roundup was canceled, and thus the final episode that went by this name never made it to television. What is Woody's finest hour?
Will Woody and Bullseye land to safety? Can they reach Jessie and Stinky Pete in time? Tune in next week for the exciting conclusion, Woody's finest hour!
What time is it? Well, it's time for the final clue of this category. It's worth 1,000. When Peter Pan lands on the minute hand of the Big Ben clock tower with the Darling family, their weight adjusts the clock to read as if it were this time of day. All right, so there are two possible answers here. I'll take either one of them. Those answers are 8:14, because you see right there they land on it, and it's not quite 8:15 yet. But then in the next shot, yep, look, there it is. It's 8:15 now. So 8:14 or 8:15 suffices. Here comes your final clue from End of the Line. The journey's too hard. It is too unfair. They give their wishes to me willingly, and I make it so that they forget their worries. All right, Brian's hot take number 2, 3 of the day. I really got to start this show. King Magnifico from Wish, who is the correct answer here, was not that bad. It wasn't that bad, guys. He let everyone live rent-free. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah, no one had to pay to live in his land of Rosas. And yeah, maybe he took some of their lifelong dreams and hid them from those people, but some of those dreams were pretty dumb. You know, someone's lifelong dream in the movie was to fly. You think their life was now forever altered because they don't remember that their lifelong dream was to fly and they get to live for free? No, not that bad.
The journey is too hard. It is too unfair. They give their wishes to me willingly, and I make it so they forget their worries.
You make it so they forget the most beautiful part of themselves.
More than just the game's final clue is worth 1,000. While on Toy Story Mania, riders eventually reach a level and screen where a volcano serves as the backdrop. At this point in the attraction, guests are virtually shooting these at the screen to earn points. I say shooting because I don't know how else to phrase it. You're obviously pulling the string like this. What is virtually coming out of your little blaster at that point? Correct answer is darts. Okay, final clue of the game before Final Jeopardy belongs to Stitch. What is the name of the book that Stitch is carrying here? What is The Ugly Duckling?
Lost.
25 clues are down and just one remains. Happens to be the one clue of the game that will ultimately determine how proud of yourself you will be for the next 7 days. It is Final Jeopardy time. So what is the category we'll be carrying over to next week's episode 119? Let's find out together. Toy Story 3. Okay, so maybe we didn't just find out together that was going to be the Final Jeopardy category because I picked it, of course. But a few weeks ago, a couple of viewers commented on a Disney Jeopardy episode saying, hey, why don't you do Final Jeopardy as a specific movie? This way fans can watch that movie in anticipation of next week's episode and hopefully ace the category. And I said, that is a wonderful idea. So for the second week in a row, am doing a category specifically about one film. This way you can study up for next week's episode 119. But how much do you remember about Toy Story 3 right now? That is the question, and what you'll have to decide as you make your wager in today's Final Jeopardy category. Let me know in the comments section if you like the idea of making Final Jeopardy a specific movie every week. This way you can watch the film, revisit movies maybe that you haven't seen in a while in anticipation of next week's episode, since of course, Final Jeopardy's category carries over to next week's episode. Let's find out what the final clue is in episode 118. It is once again about Toy Story 3. Identifiable by the shirt he's wearing, Sid makes a cameo working this job in Toy Story 3. Good luck. And time is up. Toy Story 3 ranks right at the top of my Pixar list for my favorite film from the studio. I thought it was the perfect conclusion to the franchise, and then it became not the conclusion with Toy Story 4. But either way, let's see how well you remember the great movie from 2010. Correct answer here is The Garbage Man. And that does it for episode 118 of Disney Jeopardy. Thank you so very much for watching. Club DJ members, you guys are the very best. I appreciate you all so very much. This show ain't happening without all of you. Here is your Club DJ poll for the week. Your three options include boy bands once again. The fan favorite Face Smash could make its big return depending on your votes, and Once Upon a Time characters could make it into the show as well. If that category was chosen, I would show you an image of a character from Once Upon a Time. You guys can tell me what Disney character they are representing. Now, you know the deal. If you like what you saw, do me a favor, subscribe. Click that bell icon. Hello, bell. This way, notified every time we come out with brand new content. That sounded like Patrick Warburton, like when Gaston into the introduction of Sora. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Bryan Perri. I'll see you next week for episode 119 of Disney Jeopardy. That was like my greatest. All right, that was that. I'm leaving on that note.
Bye-bye.